Sempervive here with you for the next hour talking about professional wrestling, which is something we do every single day here on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. Tune in, iHeart, American Forces Radio, sportsbyline.com, over-the-air affiliates like KMAV, 99 KMSR, and the mightier 1090. Maybe you're listening on podcast or via replay on SiriusXM, or maybe you're watching on video stream on Twitch or YouTube. However you're joining me today, I'd just like to say thank you. Hopefully wherever you are, it's sunny outside, and if not, hopefully it's sunny inside your mind. I don't know if it's sunny in Hawaii. You know, Brian goes to Hawaii, and all we get are bottles of Waiakea. Hopefully he'll bring home some Mauna Loa macadamia nuts. That would be nice. It's Friday. You know what that means. I'm going to ramble here for a while. That's what that means. Before Filthy Tom Lawler joins me on the show, there's a lot to get into. A lot of events this weekend. The biggest one, of course, being Elimination Chamber, the last major premium live event before WrestleMania, which is the most premium of all of the live events, I would say. And speaking of events, I'll get the Twitter plugs out of the way early here. The website is at F4W or WON F4W. I'm at Sempervive. Filthy is at Filthy Tom Lawler. Sports Byline USA. And, of course, Jim Valley and Andrew Zarian. And I bring up Andrew Zarian because alongside PW Insider, he is reporting that the third annual Forbidden Door pay-per-view event is scheduled for Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York. Forbidden Door 3 is set for June at the Tennis Stadium, although the exact date is not known yet. Arthur Ashe has been the site of AEW Grand Slam, the Grand Slam edition of Dynamite, for the past 3 years. In 2021, the show set the record for the highest attended non-WWE wrestling show in New York City since 1960. So that is going to be on its way, apparently, according to Andrew and PW Insider, on its way. As hopefully I was going to say the music would be on its way to cut this segment off so we can get to commercial and get back to the meat of the matter with the meatiest man of all, Filthy Tom Lawler, Wrestling Observer Live.
No fish can swim this far upshore. Yeah.
Shoulders ran like the wind, but he could find no peace.
Observer Live, Mike Sempervive here with you alongside Filthy Tom Lawler because it is Filthy Friday here on Wrestling Observer Live. And I got the plugs about Twitter out of the way early. That gave me some time to tell you about the wrestling news, everything you need to know to get your day started or get you up to date or get you to your favorite long-form review pod like Wrestling Observer Radio with Dave and Garrett Gonzalez, which should be up tonight/early tomorrow morning for subscribers at Wrestling Observer Radio. Dave and Bryan are going to be back, I would assume, late tomorrow night after the UFC shows and after WWE Elimination Chamber and a whole bunch of other stuff that we're going to be getting into on this show. If you want a little condensed form of what is happening in all of the news in professional wrestling, Wrestling News is the place for you. Go to WrestlingNews.com, wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and at Wrestling News AV on Facebook and Twitter. Filthy, how are you?
Good to great. We in the house today, Mike. Filthy Friday. Lots of news coming up with Dave and Garrett. Lots of news with Dave and Bryan if he ever makes it back. Lots of news for you and I to talk about here heading into the weekend. And I'll be honest, I'm excited. We've got UFC. We've got WWE. We've got PFL versus Bellator. There's another New Japan show tonight. Seemingly, it never ends.
CMLL at Arena Mexico. We got TNA to talk about. Believe it or not, they have two shows. They have one show at least. Then they're going to all have a sit-down with the owner, Leonard Asper, where he responds to all of their open letter requests, and we'll see how that goes. That may throw a little wrench in the Bayou Blast TV tapings that are supposed to take place, but we'll get into all of that stuff. But, I mean, Tom, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at things, we are going to have an Elimination Chamber. And there was a possibility that we were not going to have an Elimination Chamber if they would have sent the cage up the Suez Canal as they originally planned. I don't know if you've seen this news, everybody. It's up on the front page of the Wrestling Observer website. I think Joseph Courier was the one who posted it up there. That while speaking at WWE's press event / pep rally in Perth today, Michael Cole revealed that it took more than a month for the Elimination Chamber cage to get to its location at Optus Stadium. The structure was supposed to be shipped through the Suez Canal, but that couldn't happen due to pirates. Yes, pirates. The cage was instead sent to Miami, then shipped by truck to Los Angeles, then shipped to Sydney, Australia, and then arrived in Perth on a train from Sydney. So, Tom, I mean, you may know better than me. I mean, are there any steps that could have been taken by those men that are captaining these boats where they could have fought off some of these pirates?
Well, first I'd just like to clarify that this is the Captain Jack Sparrow type of pirate, not the high-budget XXX film Pirates that stopped the Elimination Chamber from reaching its destination.
Shout out to Carmen Luvana.
Now, coincidentally, yesterday on my YouTube feed popped up, what do cargo ships do to deter pirates? And it was a 15-minute video, and I watched it. Little did I know that I would use this knowledge here today, because in that video, there were quite a number of different tactics they would use. One, the water gun.
I was going to say outgun them, I think would be
Yes.
number one, but
Well, the water gun is one of them, the giant water hose that you try to spray the pirates with as they approach. You could use a cannonball. You could use other firearms. They throw out a tripwire of sorts, I guess would be the best way to put it, like some netting that trips up the boats, sometimes stopping them and heaving the pirates overseas.
I swear I saw that in a Looney Tunes cartoon one time. I think they drew a line in the water and then like the boat hit it and they flew over. That's where they got that technology from.
This is a serious show, Mike.
Sorry.
They also come equipped many times with barbed wire or chicken wire that they can put up in a haste to stop the Pirates. Although there was a few years ago, and it may have actually happened in the Suez Canal a few years ago, and I believe it was an Israeli ship was boarded after a helicopter actually dropped off some of these pirates and a camera crew.
I'll be damned.
So,
Well, we learned something today, and that's these are the steps that they could have taken, WWE could have taken as they tried to get the cage over to Perth, Australia for the Elimination Chamber. And look, SmackDown was taped last Friday. The Bloodline's going to appear. We get LA Knight and Drew McIntyre. Braun Breaker's going to debut. But obviously all of this is leading in to tomorrow's Elimination Chamber show. And Tom, I mean, was there any more that you could tell us on the Pirates, or was that pretty much everything?
I could make a Paul Burchill joke of some sort, but I won't do it.
He was just on TNA. He was just on NWA last week, I believe it was, wrestling the Thrillbilly Silas Mason for the NWA national title, or one of their titles that they had. But yeah, they broke Paul Burchill back out after quite some time. Didn't look too bad either.
Always a fan of Paul Burchill, the innovator of the C4, which is oftentimes misinterpreted as a Spanish fly, but I'm not going to get into that.
But the technical differences between the C4 and the I don't even remember the C4. I got to be honest. The one thing I remember about Burchill is the entrance, and then the Katie Lee. I remember her too.
The C4 is a one-person Spanish fly. Spanish fly is a 2-person move. It's a tag team move off the top rope.
So I can't remember what
Spanish
was the
announce
C4
team.
then?
C4 is the same move, but it's done by one person.
Can you demonstrate? The people on the radio would love to see it. You're one person. Come on. Back up the camera. Let's see it.
I can't even pull it off on a gig when somebody's paying me. Never mind in my studio.
Thank God
we move on.
I know. Thank God we're not getting paid to do this show, because, God, they would want their money back. But Elimination Chamber, 5 in the morning. That means it's 2 in the morning, filthy Tom Lawler time. He'll be just going to sleep as this show begins for everybody else who's going to be watching it live. WWE World Heavyweight Championship Elimination Chamber #1 contenders match, whatever you want to say. Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Logan Paul. It screams to me that Drew McIntyre is going to win this thing, filthy. We have not even really talked about, and nobody's talked about Orton or Lashley or Owens, or even thought to try to build any of these gentlemen a story to get them into winning this match and on the way to facing Seth Rollins. So, I mean, McIntyre or no one, what do you think?
Well, I think Bobby Lashley's probably going to have to deal with some variation of the Final Testament. I would imagine that'll take him out, as seems to always happen to Bobby Lashley. Always some chicanery. Hey, I mean, if I was a booker, Bobby Lashley would not be losing clean to very many people, and he rarely does. So I would imagine he's going to get taken out by them in some way, shape, or form. I think Kevin Owens and Logan Paul are headed towards another showdown, probably at WrestleMania for that title, I would imagine, after they've been feuding for the past few months. And I like this feud, and I'd like to see it culminate at WrestleMania. So that leaves who else, Mike? It leaves Drew McIntyre. Of
Randy
course,
Orton.
He's a favorite. It leaves Randy Orton. And it leaves, L.A. Knight, who, although I'm sure there's a subset of fans who would love to see him win the belt here at Mania, I just don't quite think it's his time. However, it is time. 3, 2, 1 for Drew McIntyre to kick us out to a break with a big Claymore and a win tomorrow in the Chamber.
Wrestling Observer Live.
talk to us about the process of bringing her in and just how you felt about that.
Listen, more than anything, I can identify with people coming out of another company and maybe feeling like they never got utilized to their fullest potential. And, that's how she felt. And I didn't know Ash before. And of course, it's a small world, the wrestling world, whether you know people or not, you feel like you know them, you know of them, people, there's always a connection. And so many people were telling me, she wants to work. She wants to do something, generally she could go say to AEW or something like that. And you just never know what's going to happen. At least I think we are known for at least pretty much when someone comes into our company, we're going to utilize them. I think that's a known fact, and people can just sit back and watch our product and see that. And also the Knockouts division is also, hey, we averaged 3 female matches on a pay-per-view. We pretty much use every single girl in that locker room. That's enticing to talent, right? And they want to be used, and and I've heard about her work ethic. She's really expressed, and every other person that worked with her vouched for her work ethic. I respect that. I like those people who are hungry and want it and want to add something to our division. And I think she's going to be a great addition. I think she's already made a splash. And now let's see what she's got in the ring and everything else. And I can't wait to see her new character and what she wants to bring to it. She's excited. So I think the fans are going to be pleasantly surprised, right? I just can never give her enough props because of not only the performer that she is, but the human being that she is. She's never changed from the girl that I met in NXT. I worked with her. I think people forget when she first came into WWE because I was there on the main roster. And and of course, everyone coming into the company is going to be all timid and nice. She's never changed from that person. If anything, she's only gotten better. It's a testament when you see her interact with the fans and how much they love her and all her loyal fans and the love that she gives back. So I'm talking about outside the ring right now. And to see her in the ring, listen, we already know she's a star, right? And to see her level up in the ring, because obviously we have a great division. We give the girls a lot of time. We feature them a lot, main events. She has killed it. And I think it just opened up this newfound confidence for her as well. And I remember her when she came into the company. I wasn't there, actually. I was doing Amazing Race at the time for her debut. I missed that. I had talked to her before. And then she had her first match with Kylan King, which was off the charts.
Back on the show, Mike Sempervive, Filthy Tom Lawler here with you. Filthy Friday on Wrestling Observer Live. Talking about this here Elimination Chamber show. Drew McIntyre, at least my choice to come out and win the entire thing. I would assume at least. Filthy, who did you say... Look, Randy Orton, this is interesting.
I said it right before break. I said Drew McIntyre's hitting a Claymore. He's sending us to break and he's going to win the chamber.
All right.
It just leaves kind of Randy Orton and LA Knight as the odd men out. And I would expect something in the way of a feud to start either there or, does someone interject themselves? They could go back to Orton and Knight, who have been kind of quasi-feuding in that whole lead up to the Roman Reigns match, including AJ Styles, who's also out there. So I don't know what you go back to a 3-way with those guys.
I was going to ask you if that's the direction they're going to go in, with a 3-way with those guys for one of the nights at Mania, just to give them something to do.
Could be. There's 2 nights. Maybe we get a short little round robin series out of the guys. Who knows? I mean, could you come up with a 20 match card for WrestleMania this year, if you had to, off the top of your head?
I mean, I could, and I guess you could, it's hard to draw some of the lines because we still need to see some things play out. I mean, even if Drew McIntyre wins this thing, and I think most of us believe that he will, even if he wins, you still have the Damian Priest thing and what you're going to do with Priest, because I would figure you want him to be strong coming out of Mania, and you want him to do something notable on Mania. again, if they're not doing anything notable with Damian Priest Mania weekend, that is a screaming sign to me that he's going to cash that thing in on Monday's Raw.
Oh, don't you think it's going to be he and Finn Balor taking on the Awesome Truth? And we're going to get I'm serious.
I tell you what, if that's you know what? Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. And Miz and R-Truth win the titles, and people lose their minds, and they're happy.
JD McDonough does something that backfires.
Yes. Now here's my question then. If usually when they do something like that, when you have the guy with the briefcase and he's downplayed to that degree on the pay-per-view, is that a sign that either that he's going to cash in on Monday, or because of the scenario you're laying out with them losing the tag titles, running into the Awesome Truth, is that the way that you get Damian Priest out of there and Drew McIntyre in there, because Judgment Day then goes and screws up his cash-in attempt on Drew? Possible? Because I can't see Drew McIntyre not coming out of Mania with that title. It's just, to me, a matter of how long he holds it for. Because I think if he wins, he's beating, Seth Rollins, and then Seth can take some time off, and we're going to have a Drew title reign.
Yeah, I think that's a good avenue to go with, Mike. I'm glad we just booked it.
Good.
For the future.
Right. Somebody cut the check. Let's go. Elimination Chamber women's match.
Don't they have a head writer's position available?
It's possible. That's right. Did they ever fill the Peppermint position? Maybe not.
I'm not touching that.
So you make it sound so obscene. Elimination Chamber for the women. Becky Lynch, Naomi, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton. I'm not going to fall over shocked if the scenario you laid out, let's say Bobby Lashley gets attacked. I don't know if we don't see that with Raquel Rodriguez, except it's not during the match and it's not some distraction that way. It's before the match, because her coming out this week kind of talking about her condition again. I know it was a surprise they got her in the match. I don't know. I could see her being taken out of this match and seeing... Look, to me, you could put easily, you could put Jade in this match, in this type of match where she could be hidden, just do a couple of spots, lay there kind of rolled out on the ground while other people are doing spots, that sort of thing. I don't know. I get this feeling that Raquel may be in peril here when it comes to her position, but we'll see. Overall, though, hard to believe that we're not going to get Becky Lynch out of this thing, right? I'm sure we're going to get some more matches for WrestleMania and some more feuds out of this, including the possibility of Bianca and Tiffany Stratton, which I know would probably be very disappointing for a lot of Bianca fans. But it could be, and again, it could be something that they could do. But what do you think about the women's Elimination Chamber?
Well, I think you're right. I think Becky Lynch should come out of this as the winner. A lot of people thought she was the favorite to win the Rumble. She was dumped out by, I couldn't even tell you who. Maybe Nia Jax, maybe Liv Morgan, right? But it didn't lead to much. And I expect her to come out of here challenging Rhea Ripley at the WrestleMania kickoff event that I attended here in Las Vegas. There were two females besides the champion Rhea Ripley that hit the stage. One of them was Becky Lynch, who had a face-off with her. The other was Bianca Belair, who has a new show out with her husband, Montez Ford. So I would imagine that they build upon that. It's Becky Lynch against Rhea Ripley. And Mike, what I would do, actually, is I would take Jade Cargill and I would put her against Bianca Belair, and I would give her the big win at WrestleMania. I believe they mentioned at the WrestleMania kickoff event, Bianca Belair has won the last 3 years at WrestleMania. She's won the Royal Rumble, I believe, 2 times in that period. Maybe that's incorrect, but I don't think it hurts her whatsoever to have Jade go over her real big at Mania.
But is Jade ready for that? I guess that would be the question then. If you're going to put
Ready?
Jade
It's
over-
pro wrestling.
But if you're going
WrestleMania was headlined by Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor.
look, I know that, but like she's not.
You telling
Lawrence
me she
Taylor.
can't? No, but she could be Logan Paul.
But here's my thing. If she's going to get a win like that over somebody, why not do that on NXT? Here's my thing. If she does that, then that means she's ready to be a regular on the show, at least a semi-regular, and she's going to have a feud and matches. I don't get the impression that they're ready for that yet. And I don't know if I necessarily want to use Jade like that. I mean, honestly, I'm okay with the amount of women that they have. I'm completely okay with her being, I don't want to say Omos, but kind of in that position where unless she can really go out there and have a 10 to 12 minute match with somebody, if she can't do that, then what's the point? So to me, I don't know if I want to necessarily use Bianca in that position on that show.
What do you mean?
To me,
what's the point?
Because
you want to
Bianca,
see Jade? You want to see Jade out there selling her leg?
But here's the thing:
for 8 minutes.
No,
Let
but
her
at some
do
point she's going to have to. Why not
No.
do? But here's my thing:
She
why
doesn't.
not then do Bianca and Tiffany then? Because Tiffany's more ready than Jade would be.
If you're looking at it from a wrestling match standpoint, sure, Mike, I'm not going to disagree with you. But there's a certain aura and star quality that Jade has that very few of the other women have.
She does. Absolutely. She absolutely does. But
Like-
in this case, why not have her go squash Candice
Bianca.
and Indy? Well, I get it. I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but then it's like, then I'm
They didn't
gonna
bring
expect
in-
to see her.
Vader didn't come in and squash Shiro Koshinaka.
Yeah, but Vader
He
was
went-
Jade
he went right
wasn't
out there
working in catch wrestling, earning her stripes and had a 15-year career before it either. I mean, one of their problems is they obviously don't trust her to be able to go. Isn't that part of the issue? And if she beats Bianca, wouldn't that be a sign that she's ready to go? Are you gonna have her squash Bianca and then use her as, how are you gonna use her as Brock?
From
she
what
comes
I've
in-
seen, I don't care. From what I've seen, she's ready enough to go. She was ready enough to go coming straight from AEW.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Then, hey, look, maybe we throw WrestleMania all out. Maybe she comes in and she body slams Nia and she takes the match with Rhea and she wins the title from Rhea and it's Jade and it's Becky at WrestleMania or something like that. Look, I assume Rhea Ripley, you believe as I do that she's going to win this match and we're going to get Becky. It can't be Nia, right? It can't be.
No.
There's somebody she can go over, dude. How about that? How about at Mania on one of those nights? It's Jade against Nia. She comes out, slams Nia, and beats her and squashes her like a bug. Nobody's been able to get over on Nia except for Jade. Why not do it that way? How about that?
Good enough for me.
Fair
as long as we can end this argument here.
Well, it's not, is it really an argument? I mean, honestly.
It's enough of one. It's a first world problem argument.
It is. Damian Priest, Finn Balor, as we talked about, against the new Catch Republic. Get the hell out of here. Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, great team, great wrestlers, new Catch Republic.
What's wrong with British strong style? Especially
know.
now that Minoru Suzuki gave the name back and got rid of it. Did you see that?
No, did he?
He said New Japan can have it back.
Oh, maybe he thought he was going to get sued by the Inoki Genome Federation or something.
Oh yeah,
you know?
perhaps.
New Catch Republic. Look, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, I think win this match, although it should be entertaining. And then, as far as I know, the pre-show match, the only other thing that they've had announced so far is Kairi Sane and Asuka facing off against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. I would assume Kairi and Asuka get the victory there. We'll be back. Wrestling Observer Live.
Welcome to the special tour of Figure 4 Weekly Headquarters, as promised. Today I will be accompanied by my assistant Vincenzo, so let's get moving. Hey, don't worry about it. Today's a special day, I'll drive. Vince, today's gonna be a good day, so let's not F anything up, okay? Now, I'd like to tell everybody, I just want to give a short speech on the way to the compound here today, and that is that we are going through very tough economic times right now. Right, Vince? It's a time of stock market crashing, the yen is devalued, a time of woe and want. And many of you watching this right now, for all I know, are unemployed. But the good thing is, and I always like to look on the bright side, as Vince is well aware, the good news is that for every dark cloud, there is a silver lining. And the silver lining is that Figure 4 Weekly is doing great. It's a huge success right now. Subscriptions are up, quality is down, profit margins are skyrocketing, things are going very well. So the one thing is that I don't want to make it seem like money is everything, because money cannot buy happiness, but what it can buy is enormous houses, and that makes me happy. So we will be going to see my enormous house, the Figure 4 Weekly compound, and that's where we're heading right now.
Mike Sempervive, Filthy Tom Waller here with you, Wrestling Observer Live. Just
The Iron Men.
Yes.
The Iron Men of the radio.
Just
Tony
trip
Starks
through
of the
this.
airwaves. Mike Sempervive.
This is more, now we're at you God level, the way we've been doing this show today. This is man with the golden arm sort of stuff here. Elimination Chamber, we're done with it. Optus Stadium, 5 o'clock in the morning. Look, it's very annoying if you're on the East Coast of the United States. The rest of the world laughing right now because, well, we usually have to put them in all sorts of hell because, well, America, the cradle of civilization, where all things must take place at between 5 and 8 p.m. in the our time. You know, the rest of you need to suffer, but suffering will not be on Kenny Omega's list for too long. At least he's going to have some relief, Tom. He's coming back. Did you hear about this? Kenny Omega on the way back? Yeah. Alex Jabali, the founder and CEO of CEO Gaming, tweeted out today that he has set up a streaming station for Kenny Omega, who will begin to stream video games online very, very soon. You excited?
Hey, I'm a fan of Kenny Omega, so let's get him back ASAP, health permitting.
Jabali wrote, quote, "Not sure when the first one will be, but it'll be Street Fighter related when the time comes to kick things off. He says hello," end quote. Why would the first thing not be the AEW video game? Like, I know his favorite game is Street Fighter. Like, my favorite game right now is still, like, the MLB 23. But, like, if there was the F4W game, like, I would probably want to stream that one. Especially one that's been so maligned like the AEW game has. And considering that it's been out for a while, anybody that didn't buy it, wouldn't you want to try to get them to buy it? I don't know. Am I crazy for this? I don't know anything about the streaming of video games. My whole knowledge of Twitch comes from doing this show.
Well, perhaps this is a endeavor that is designed to get as many followers and viewers as possible. And there's more people who own Street Fighter 6, I would imagine, and play that than do AEW Fight Forever. And that's not a slight on Fight Forever, because I've played the game and I enjoy it. I've played on multiple platforms.
Did you make yourself?
I'm past that point in my life. Sadly, I've never been in a video game, no action figures, and I've quite honestly given up. So
well, at least you got a
subject
t-shirt through this site, which I've never gotten.
If I can live vicariously through Kenny Omega playing Puzzle Fighter 2 or whatever it is on Twitch, I'll go ahead and do so.
Dance Party 2024, is that still around? Hey, you know what you didn't tell me about?
Maybe a little fire up a little Leisure Suit Larry and join me on the F4W Twitch stream.
Why didn't you tell me about the New Japan deal? I didn't hear about this. I had to see it on your timeline and then actually have to go check it out further. And have you been called on this? Because I would love to take this tour. New Japan Pro Wrestling, pleased to announce that it has entered into a working relationship with Costa Rica Wrestling Embassy. Did Rocky Romero figure this deal out too?
I wasn't briefed on the inner dealings with the Costa Rica Wrestling Embassy. I thought maybe I'd get the jump on it and say something, but there were multiple people who were talking about this already being their territory. Apparently a lot of wrestlers like to go down to Costa Rica and hang out.
Oh man, there seems to be a lot of rich white guys with they'll like work part-time like in Florida or like around here at the beach area where Belize and Costa Rica seem to be the spot for these folks.
Yeah, usually you do one of two things. You either fund Bodog and a shady MMA promotion, and you bring in fighters, hold fights on the beach in Costa Rica, give them access to copious amounts of women, and then hide from the government. Or another thing you can do if you want to end up in Costa Rica, and it doesn't involve, going through New Japan is probably the hardest way to get down there. But if you create a virus scan company and then lose your mind and go insane, I can't even say the word I wanted to use on air, you might end up hanging out down in Costa Rica too. But you could watch some New Japan Pro Wrestling along with CWE, which I guess I'll have to check out.
Yeah, I say you gotta
not
get
the only
into
news.
the CWE here.
Not the only news coming out of New Japan. I assume that's why you brought that up, so we could segue into a little bit of results from this evening.
Pro style. Now, I don't know if you want to talk about these results or not. I mean, I got to be honest. I haven't seen it yet. I know you have. Those last four results that I saw for the four main matches on the show, after you got through Mayu and Mina, I don't know how I feel about everything that they did here, but the main event, Nick Nemeth defeats David Finlay. David Finlay does not get a defense of the Global Heavyweight Championship. The brand new IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship loses it in his first defense against Nick Nemeth, and Matt Riddle defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi for the NJPW World Television title in the semi-main event. So the two big names that have come along here in the last couple of months, as they lose Okada, they lose Ospreay, they lose Fletcher and some others. They pick up Nemeth and Riddle from WWE. They immediately are belted. What did you think about the decision? What did you think about the matches as you watched them?
I am a big fan of Nick Nemeth. Love watching him in the ring. unfortunately, I thought that this was a time where David Finlay should have won. I thought David Finlay finally had some momentum. I didn't hear people chirping left and right about how Gabe Kidd should be the leader of the Bullet Club. Dave Finlay got the big win at Wrestle Kingdom over both Moxley and Ospreay. He looked great. He looked like a killer. He looked like a leader of the Bullet Club. He looked like a leader of the War Dogs in that cage match. And I thought that they should continue with that and that this would be a big defense from him. And I'm just surprised that he lost it. The match was good. The crowd, even in his post-match speech, Nick Nemeth said, "You don't know me now, but you will." And it kind of in both instances, he and Matt Riddle both came out, and there weren't as big reactions for the entrances as maybe you would imagine, but they were both able to get the crowd behind them at multiple times during the Nick Nemeth and David Finlay match. The crowd was definitely behind Nemeth as he was selling his leg and fighting out of the figure four. And then eventually he landed he and Finlay went back and forth with headbutts. He landed a super kick called the 101 because he's taking people to school. And then the zigzag, now known as the Danger Zone, to get the win over Finlay. And in the Matt Riddle-Tanahashi match, which went, I believe, less than 9 minutes, the TV title changed hands in these matches, of course, have a 15-minute time limit, so they're sort of a sprint. But they went through kind of the formula, seemingly, for these matches. You do some wrestling, you do some spots, you hit some signature moves, you go back to some fast-paced wrestling, and then you go to a finish. And Matt Riddle was able to hit the Bro Derek and get the win. The crowd, I think, was surprised, as was I, because the match hadn't really it was only 8 or 9 minutes. I was just expecting a longer match out of these two, but definitely solidifies Matt Riddle as a major player in New Japan. He, I believe, teams with the United Empire tonight. We'll see if he is the replacement in some ways for Will Ospreay, who is irreplaceable in most ways in the United Empire, or if he's just there to team with his old bro, Jeff Cobb. But I thought, from what I saw, the Mina Shirakawa challenge of Mayu Iwatani for the IWGP Women's title was my favorite thing on the show.
I am looking forward to that, not looking as forward to the Never Openweight Championship match between Evil and Shota Umino. Evil gets his first title defense, I believe, off of this reign, but Shota Umino, did he need to lose this? And I'm fine with El Desperado, having another different name in the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship mix. The way Show's been in House of Torture and then winning it by countout. I mean, he wins by countout after 16 minutes. I mean, was this match worth seeing, looking at that result and rolling my eyes? I mean, is there redemption to be seen in the match? I mean, was that at least good?
I mean, you're asking the wrong guy. I did the same thing you did. I saw a count out finish. I rolled my eyes.
There's a lot not to like about what's going on right now in New Japan. I mean, I'll just say it. There's a lot to me not to like. And I know this is a better subject for the Adam Mike Big Audio Nightmare, which we are going to record on either Sunday or Monday for subscribers at WrestlingObserver.com. But I am not. I'm very bearish right now on the New Japan scene.
Just wait for the next U.S. show. I'm sure that'll be a banger.
You got that dog inside you, don't you?
I do, just like Bryan Alvarez. This one's a Nathan's foot long.
It's New Japan, New Beginning in Sapporo. Part 2 takes place early in the morning. That'll actually be somewhat competing. Yeah. I guess I'll be just going off or towards the end of the show by the time that the WWE show begins in Australia. But IWGP World Heavyweight title, Naito against Sonata, Hair versus Hair, Yota Tsuji against Yuya Uemura, Shingo Takagi against Taichi. Those are the 3 main matches on the show. But notable, Tamatonga and Tangaloa against Hikuleo and El Phantasmo. I think a lot of brethren and hand signals and good brethren going on there at the end of that one. If it's going to be Tamatonga's last match there, and then of course Kazuchika Okada teaming up with Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi against the United Empire, as Filthy mentioned there. So do you think Okada does one job on the way out? It ain't going to be the Riddle, I doubt. But who do you think takes the fall there? You think there's any shot Okada loses before he leaves?
I think you got a better shot at Topper Harley showing up for this part than you do Okada taking the fall on his last match out. I think he's hitting that Rainmaker. I think he's doing the pose. Suwama is not going to be there to attack him like it's 15 years ago as he does it for 3 minutes. And then he moves on to whatever endeavor he has in his elite career coming up next.
You know, it's you. Make sure you stand by your phone. I don't think Endeavor's going to be calling, but Leonard Asper from Anthem might be calling you because the crew goes to work for TNA Wrestling tonight with No Surrender, which is going to be available. It is main evented by Moose against Alex Shelley in a No Surrender Rules match. But apparently there's a meeting taking place on Saturday before the Bayou Blast taping in New Orleans, the TV taping. PW Insider is reporting this, where Leonard Asper is going to sit down with the wrestlers and talk about their letter that they sent to both him and Scott D'Amore about putting Scott back in charge. They are not going to do that. And in fact, in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, apparently D'Amore's offer of approximately $10 million to buy TNA from Anthem was turned down cold with no response. So there you go, Wrestling Observer Live.
How did you feel about your performance in the Rumble?
It went really well. Like all the girls they made me look incredible. And thank God for that because like they're there. They're there and the WWE fans can see them every week if they wanted to, but that was I only have one chance. Like I felt like my career was riding on that. Like that's just how it felt and for all the girls to just make me look as good as they made me look, it was incredible.
That moment with Naomi, former Knockouts champion, you guys hug and then you guys start just going at it. What was that even like? Like, was it deja vu? I don't know.
Well, first of all, the reaction we got was so cool. I thought I didn't expect like all the people to kind of know our history. So the fact that when we were standing off initially, they had that reaction, we hugged, they had a reaction, and then when we started fighting, they had a reaction. It was so perfect. It was chef's kiss. That was so freaking cool. And the fact that we wrestled 2 weeks ago in front of a sold out crowd for TNA, their comeback show, like for the Knockouts World Title, everything was just so perfect. Yeah, she is an incredible athlete and an incredible wrestler, and I never thought I'd be in the ring with her, taking her finish. Period. So the fact that that happened was actually crazy. What's funny was when everything we were playing the match, whatever, and I said, "Have you ever done your finisher on the apron?" And she said, "No, she hadn't." We went over it in a practice ring, wasn't working, and we didn't have a chance to go out. We know that the ring aprons are bigger outside, uh, but we didn't have a chance to go out and like feel it out. And one of the producers was like, "You don't have to do it if y'all didn't go over it." And I just told her like, "Do it, and if there's not enough room, just throw me on the ground. Like, just do it from the apron to the ground." And thank God that didn't happen. But I was telling the producer like, I would do this in front of 500 people, much less 50,000 people. So I didn't have a problem with it at all. And she's an amazing wrestler, and I feel like she would have protected me regardless of if we had to do it to the floor or not.
Yes, I was like, when I was watching it, I was nervous because I'm like, first of all, like you're taking this brutal bump, but then on top of that, Bianca, we know was supposed to be standing tall, and I was like, oh my god, what if she like loses her balance? What if she falls
Oh,
too? Like I was thinking like all of these things, but you guys went. I mean, you guys are pros, man.
she's so good. No chance of that. She would have been fine.
No,
She
no.
would have fallen off the apron and landed on my body. And like
Mike Sempervive, filthy Tom Lawler here with you. Put a bow on this thing. But we can't get out of here without talking about the biggest event taking place this weekend. PFL against Bellator champions. Available via pay-per-view and ESPN Plus from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The first event for Bellator fighters since the promotion was purchased by the IFL or the PFL. Never thought this could happen. A veteran of these wars, filthy Tom Lawler. You gonna be checking this thing out here? Ryan Bader in the main event.
I hope to. It's a nonstop day. Ryan Bader in one of the closest things you're going to have to a freak show fight, taking on the near 7 foot tall Hernan Ferreira. The side by side comparison of these two guys looks like it's out of that cartoon. Mike said he saw the Pirates get tripped up in the tripwire earlier.
Dude, Ferreira's like he looks huge. He's huge.
Unbelievable size disparity. You also have, what's the other championship fight that's going down? Johnny Eblen taking on Impa Kasangane in the other champion versus champion fight. Clay Collard versus AJ McKee on the undercard. But you talked about it earlier. There's Elimination Chamber. There's this. PFL versus Bellator. Elimination Chamber will bleed right into this. There's a KSW show tomorrow with Mohamed Khalidov boxing Thomas Adamek. Josh Barnett's in a grappling match on it. There's Valet Tudo, anything go rules fights on there. There's a UFC. There's AEW, I'm sure. It's never ending, Mike. And guess what?
What's up?
Just like I love the listeners out there, I absolutely love it. I can't get enough of wrestling and combat sports, and I can't get enough of listening to you talk about it right here in these very airwaves.
That's right. GCW tonight in Dallas, AAW tonight in Chicago, CMLL tonight in Arena, Mexico. If you want it, you can find it. You can get it. It's wrestling, damn it. And we talk about it here. Sports Byline USA, Wrestling Observer Live. We're done talking. She'll talk to you again after a while. Let's get